So this kind of complicated reaction is not there with the supercapacitors. Okay, supercapacitor reactions are always very peaceful. I can do it very fast. I can charge at any rating. Okay. So this is what about the batteries, different kind of batteries. Anyway, we are not going to see this. So batteries, there are a lot of issues. One is how to increase the stored energy, how to increase the power. So that is what these fast charging batteries are coming into the market. As I told you, the others, if you remember the very first figure, the battery people are working on this area. So those who are working on batteries, they are trying to increase the energy density, the power density, so they are working on this area. And those who are working in supercapacitor, they are trying to working on this direction. We need some device somewhere here. We should have optimum power density, optimum energy density. So that's why this new concept comes, hybrid devices. So that means integrating your batteries and the supercapacitors. In Sikri, what we are doing is we are taking a lead acid battery, we are taking a supercapacitor, we are connecting with this two device, integrating these two device, and then put it in your e-rickshaw. Okay. So the e-rickshaw, I'm sure Delhi and all, I don't know about Vijayawada, but Delhi and all people are using left and right e-rickshaws. Okay. But the problem is after 1 year or 2 years, they have to change their lead acid battery. The lead acid batteries are known for minimum 4 to 5 years life. But for them it comes only 1 year because the rated current in your lead acid battery is only 10 to 20 amps. Okay. But if 6 or 7 people sits and then there is a hump, they need initially, particularly when you just riding your car, the first gear you need more power, right? So similarly when you start your rickshaw, you need more power. That means 30 amps or 40 amps is needed. But that may not be needed for a long time. That may need 1 or 2 minutes. Then it will go to the normal current. We call it as a peak current. So every time if you try to discharge your batteries at high current rather than normalize like this, obviously the battery life will go down. So that's why their batteries will get lost within a year or 2. Not for more than 1 year or 2 years. So what here we are doing is we are putting supercapacitors, we are putting batteries. So what is happening is we have integrated with one of the companies who are expertise in electronics. They have developed us some controller. So my controller has to control my battery and supercapacitors. When excess current more than 20 amps is needed, the controller should take only 20 amps from my batteries, the rest of the current from my supercapacitor. At the same time, when supercapacitor charge goes down below 20 amps or below 50%, my controller has to allow this battery to charge my supercapacitor. Since supercapacitor always should be charged in good condition. Okay. So whenever the talking between the talk between your batteries and supercapacitor should be very timely. So that's what that electronic circuits we developed, and then we have demonstrated that the normal life of a lead acid batteries which is used in e-rickshaw, and then the lead acid batteries is integrated with supercapacitors in e-rickshaw. We saw almost 40 to 60% life of batteries are increased. So normal batteries comes 1 or 2 years, but these batteries can come up to 4 or 5 years. But this is data we generated, but the real-time trial is going on. But of course there are a lot of issues on the controller which we have developed. Okay, so there is a regenerative braking system. That means when you apply a brake, electricity can be produced. So that electricity has to be stored again in your batteries. Your batteries is not ready to take the energy immediately. Since when you apply a brake, huge amount of electricity will be produced. That electricity cannot be immediately taken by your batteries. So that time it has to be stored in your supercapacitor. So supercapacitor should be always 90% only should be charged. It has to be ready to take the regenerative braking current. So there should be some kind of buffer. Okay. So that's why in the case of lithium ion battery there are a lot of opportunities, increasing the power, recharge time, lifetime of the batteries, of course the cost is more important, and then safety is very important, and the environmental sustainability. So that's why people are talking about other than the lithium, since sometimes before the situation was something different. In India it doesn't have a lithium at the time. Okay, so we have to, even if we are masters in lithium ion batteries, the lithium source has to be imported. But very recently the Jammu Kashmir they have identified a lot of lithium source. So now India is the third or fourth place in the lithium resource. So we are in very good condition. Now people are again they are talking about lithium ion batteries. So coming to the materials, so for example as I told you here, the carbon based materials can be used, or some kind of metal oxides or phosphates, sulfates can be used, or conductive polymers can be used. So these are the uses of supercapacitors. I am sure those who are not seeing the conventional capacitor can see here. So in the case of the airplane, is there any emergency landing and then all the doors are should be opened immediately, they cannot rely on the batteries. Okay, so they always have a supercapacitor backup. In China there is a bus, okay, so it runs with completely supercapacitors, so that's why you are going to see, I don't know, maybe that video. So there is a video, it's not working, so here you could see there is a charging panel, right? So the buses also have pantograms, that's like a train. So the bus comes to the stop and then passengers will go down and the new passengers will come in, right? So that time is sufficient for charging this bus. Since this quick charging supercapacitors are known for quick charge, so the bus is ready to go for another 7 or 8 kilometers. But assume that again you should have a bus stop every 5 to 6 kilometers. Okay, and more importantly the bus has to stop at the bus stop. Okay, that's not, most of the time it may not happen, right? Arun, can you bring little water? Yeah. Here the fabrication is also very simple. In the case of metal oxides or sulfates or phosphates or carbon, just to take it and add some conductive carbon if you are not sure about the conductivity. And then we also have some conductive binders called PTFE or PVDF. We mix it and then we will get a paste, put it on some substrate like aluminum foil which we are using for covering your cooked foods, right? That is enough. We cut into two pieces. One will be your positive, the other one will be a negative. So here there is no anode cathode. We call it as a positive electrode and the negative electrodes. And then I don't know how many of you are aware of cyclic voltammetry, chemistry students. Have you studied the cyclic voltammetry? Okay. Then maybe this part I just go in little quick. So this area what we will see is, this is a basic characterization tool to find out whether the supercapacitors or the electrolyte is appropriate or not. So here the first part is kind of cation absorption. I told you about a long time, there is a positive and negative charge, right? Also there is a cation and anions. If I take a sodium chloride, I have Na plus and Cl minus. So the simple technique will tell me whether this ions is right. I can take sodium chloride, I can take a potassium chloride, I can take a sodium sulfate, I can take a potassium sulfate. Okay, only the K or Na or sodium sulfate or chloride or fluoride, I can have the varieties which depends upon the functionalities of the electrode materials. Which ion is better? So this particular one will talk about the cation absorption, and then the second part will be reveal me the cation desorption. Okay. First there is a electrode, the positive ions will get absorbed, and then this absorbed positive ions has to be removed. Then the negative ions will get absorbed and then negative ion has to be removed. If all are equal, then
when this electrolyte is perfect, I can go for a full cell. But without making a supercapacitor, I can able to see whether this particular electrolyte or particular electrode is good or not. So that's why this particular studies makes. You could see this side is a anion absorption, the other side is a anion desorption. For example, this part is good, this part is weak. So that means lot of cation get absorbed, but not of all the cations are not desorbed. So that means absorption is very strong. Removal is not possible. In such a case, I cannot use this cation. I have to change. Instead of potassium, I can use a sodium. Or I can try some other cations. Right? Similarly, here the other side. Basically, if you see, all the four area has to be equal. In such a case, I have selected a best electrolyte. So this is what the electrode configuration in the three electrodes which I have shown in the previous one. And the next one is the real capacitors. The same electrode, one is a positive side, other is a negative side. When I reverse it, this will become a positive, that will become a negative. So this is another charge discharge. I will tell you what is the energy density. So the energy density of the device can be calculated using this equation 1/2 CV square. C is the capacitance. Capacitance depends upon these parameters. Surface area of the material, structure of the material or morphology of the material, conductivity of the material, pore size of the material and functionalities on the materials. And I change a material or the same material I prepared in different morphology. That means I obviously change some of the properties. Okay? So obviously the capacitance will be influenced. The other one is the V square. V is the voltage of the device. So when I use aqueous electrolyte, what is the maximum voltage I can go? I told you just now, right? The theoretical voltage is in aqueous electrolyte is 1.23 water splitting voltage. Okay. So if I use aqueous electrolyte, maximum 2 volt I can use. Okay. So since it's a V square, there is a small increment in the V is also better. So if I use organic electrolyte as my lithium-ion batteries, here also I can go 3.7 volt or 4 volt is also possible. Okay. So either I can change the material behavior, I can change the electrolyte. Make sure this electrolyte, that material is stable. So coming to materials, there are a lot of materials, like particularly two-dimensional materials. So that's why my group is interested, like making graphene or MXins, hexagonal boron nitride, MOS2, all these things. So I was talking about the graphene, right, sometimes back. If I take a single sheet, I arrange in this manner, this is a graphite. Okay, for the same sheet I rotate, I will make it as a tube, then this is called a carbon nanotubes. That's a one dimensional. If I make it as a ball, that is a zero dimensional, that is called a fullerenes, which I have shown very first. Okay, so how many of you are aware of graphene? What is the importance of graphene? Graphene has, I have the slides, yeah. Strength. It's a conductivity. So what is the best electrical conductive material? Copper. So copper and silver as the topmost in the table. Okay. But if we take a graphene, the conductivity is almost 10 times higher than the copper and silver. Okay. If you take the mechanical properties like strength, the stainless steel is a very strengthened one, but it's almost compared to the, that's a 10 times higher. Also it's a highly transparent in nature. Okay. So it's a highly transparent. If I see have a sheet, it's a highly transparent. It's a highly conductive. It can be flexible and bendable. Then can be able to assume some kind of applications. I can have a TV in my pocket. Nobody knows I have a TV in my pocket. I can use it as a display, right? So it's a bendable and flexible. I can just as my handkerchief, I can close it, I can put it in my pocket. Of course, this is just for convenience, but
Similar thing, this is highly transparent. You cannot see there is a device over there. Okay? But my interest is this is highly conductive in nature. The other side is the surface area is 2630 meters per gram of material. It's almost like one football ground or cricket ground. Okay, I have 1 gram of material in my hand. That is equivalent to one football ground I have. That much surface I have in this 1 gram of material.
So obviously I can able to absorb more amount of ions. But unfortunately that is only a theoretical. But experimentally when we do it, there are a lot of issues. For example, this is the sheet which we are talking about, but these two sheets are not very stable. They try to, that means the force between these two sheets are very strong. Okay? So this always to be like this. It's very difficult to separate. So what I have to do is when it's a single sheet, I put some heavy molecules or heavy atoms inside. Okay? So then I will put it and allow it to the restacking. So it will come back like this. So, but here I have some metals, heavy metals or some polymers. So obviously what will happen, this will not be as close as like this. If it is close like this, I can use only this surface and bottom surface. In between there may be assume that there is 100 sheets. Then I can use only top and bottom. Okay. But if I have like this, I can have a top surface and bottom surface, top surface and bottom surface. Like these 100 layers are there. In addition to this, these molecules is also a pseudo-capacitive in nature. Some metal oxides or conductive polymers can be used. So I can have a electrochemical double layer capacitor from this material and pseudo-capacitance from this material. So I can avail both in the same materials. But how do you make it this material? That is another great challenge. So our group has made some kind of contribution in this. So we make a graphene oxide. But only making graphite to graphene is a very big challenge. How many of you are aware? I'm not sure. Even the Nobel Prize has been given for this to physics people. Which year do you remember? Maybe 2000 or 2010? Okay, just for showing that if you take one sheet that is called a graphene. Not like that I have shown you some of the properties, right? So they have proved that this kind of graphene single sheet has this kind of properties. We don't know how they made the experiment, is very funny. They just purchased a 5 rupees Scotch tape. Okay, so they make a graphite crystal, they put it on the graphite and then just they peel up. Only the originally I told maybe some 2000, 3000 layers will be there. Now maybe 50 layers comes out. Okay, as I told you there is no chemical bonding between the two sheets. So these sheets are arranged just as like a small stacking. So because of this force only 50 sheets came out. Now what they done is they put another cello tape over there and then just again they peel up. Some 25 sheets. So assume that equally this comes down. And then they have repeated the experiment until one sheet comes to the surface of the Scotch tape. But thinking it may be easy, but theoretically proving there is a sheet which has this kind of conductivity, which has this kind of mechanical strength, this is highly transparent. So all these things only brought them Nobel Prize. But without knowing that we are every day we are making graphene. Do you know how? Pencil. And my daughter write on notebook. What is happening? Yeah. So there is a graphite rod. So only 3 layers comes out and sticks on the paper. If you want to make it a graphene sheet, just take a 1 A4 size paper and take a pencil and draw a very fine lines without any disconnecting. Then you could put a multimeter on this two surface, you can see if it is your lines are perfect, you could be able to see a conductivity. Okay. So this case what we have done is
We have oxidized this surface and then we put some metal oxides inside and finally we reduce it. okay, will end up with small ions goes inside the tubes or inside the seeds.
Okay, thereby you can have both EDLC as well as the pseudo-capacitance. So the other kind of material is MXins. I don't know, maybe recently it's coming up. There is a compound called max phase. Okay, titanium aluminum carbide. If I take a titanium aluminum carbide,
I just remove only this A, it will become MX. So that's why it is called MXins. There are so many compounds. So that's why in general name they put as a MXins. Or the other way, you can see this is a layered material as I shown in my batteries. So there is a layered matrix. So here this blue lines, this blue layer is a A layer. I remove these A layers, then I will get a small layers. So that is called small single nanoseeds. Okay, so that is called the MXing nanoseeds. Fortunately, this aluminum is soluble in hydrofluoric acid.
as of now, we can dissolve this aluminum in the hydrofluoric acid and then you can prepare the MXin sheets.
So
Here we wrote a review in advanced functional materials very recently. You could see, so if you want to have a essence of entire preparations, now you could see in the review article. So basically here also issues as like a graphene. Graphene I cannot make in tons. I can make it a few grams or milligrams in my lab. But if I want to use for some application, definitely it should be made it in some kilograms. The moment I try to make it in large quantity, I am compromising the number of layers. Obviously the performance, whatever I promised, it may not be given by this material. So similarly here in the case of MXins also, the removing aluminum by simple method is very important, but as of now people are using only HF, either directly or indirectly. So the first method is direct HF etching. The second method is we will heat it to high temperature. At the high temperature the hydrogen HF acid is produced, and then that HF acid will remove these aluminum layers. But anyway, either way you are making a hydrofluoric acid to decompose this aluminum, but that is not a scalable method for large quantity. Of course, we have shown how this metal oxide decorated MXins or two different kind of MXins can be used for supercapacitors. So some of you are interested, maybe you can just go through these articles. You can find more information about two materials arrangements. Particularly here MXins and boron carbon nitrates have been used. I just skip this part. Yeah. Coming to the last part, maybe I will take another 10-20 minutes. Is it okay? Okay. It's approved, right? Yeah. So this is what we are doing it at CSIR Sikri.
here we put CAGR. CAGR represents a compound annual growth rate. Any device or particular area how it is growing, that is generally calculated by the compound annual growth rate. The lithium ion battery people are talking lot.
The CAGR of graphene, the lithium ion battery is only 19 to 20% or 18 to 20%. The supercapacitor are 30%. So that shows that how important these supercapacitors for various applications. Unfortunately in India, not many companies are really any companies are making supercapacitors. Very recently there are some one or two small companies, they are coming up with the supercapacitor products. One is that SPEL Pune, so they are making a supercapacitors. Of course not in the commercial level, all are in R&D levels. The problem is if you see the materials, I told you the carbon is extensively used. Okay? So there are so many metal oxides or polymers, metal oxide polymer composites have been tried in R&D. But if you commercially if you see only carbon materials are used. Unfortunately, no Indian companies are also there to support or supply these carbon materials. So there is a company called Kurara in Japan. and then there is another company in China and Finland. So these are the three major people. They are supplying any electrode grade carbon. People are using for various other applications also. For any electrode grade carbon is supplied by these major companies. None of the Indian companies are making it. Of course, there are new companies like Epsilon and Jacobi. They are coming up with some compounds, but not in a very major scale. If you see what is the Kurare carbon, that is one of the expensive and highly reputed carbon, okay, all over the world, that comes from the charcoal. Sorry, not charcoal, it's a coconut shell. Okay, but unfortunately in Japan there is no coconut trees, hardly few. Maybe you can find out, you can count it. Only that much coconut trees are there. But Japan is supplying the coconut shell derived carbon. If you see this lot of coconut shell derived carbon or coconut raw material will be supplied by the India and the Philippines, or some cases from Sri Lanka. So they are taking the coconut shell derived carbon, just carbon, they are processing it and then they are converting into a electrode grade carbon and then supplying to the entire world. They have only the technology, nothing else. Okay? So in our place we also thought that we can make a supercapacitor grade carbon. So we tried various carbons. Not only this, there are others also. So not only there are, if you put literature search, you could see maybe lots and lots of papers are available in different kind of biomaterials that could give you activated carbon for supercapacitor application. But unfortunately, none of these processes are economic. Okay? So some of the materials what I have shown is a very promising materials which shows very high performance than the commercial supercapacitor grade carbons, any of the carbon, either Kurare or Finland or China carbon. These carbons are much better. But economic wise, if you see, these prices are 3 times or 4 times higher than the Kurare carbon. Even after all this export, all this import, and then finally we are getting a cheaper price. But in India we cannot able to make a cheaper price carbon. So that is a fact. So one is that large quantity, also the processing which we are doing it. So that's why we are trying to make it different kind of carbons which in large quantity. One of the process is called activation. So for example, this is a scanning electron microscope image of a carbon before and after activation. Before activation you could see it looks like a very big brick. Okay. After activation you could see there are a lot of pores has been produced. Here there are two advantages. One is overall surface area is increased. The other side is the overall weight of the material is reduced. Since I removed some of the material in between, no? So obviously the weight of the material will be reduced. But at the same time I increase the surface area. So similarly, if I also checked, there are different kind of people have made it different kind of morphologies or different source. When you may take it a different source and then the porosity is something different. You cannot mimic. Okay. So you could see here the surface area as finally the capacitance. The pore volume, pore radius and surface area and specific capacitance of the carbon prepared from different methods or different starting materials. You could see the high surface area carbon, that's the second one, which has 2162 meter square, which has only 460 farad per gram. Whereas the carbon with 1500 meter square per gram has high specific capacitance. Okay, so this shows that there is no direct correlation between the surface area and the specific capacitance. In addition to this, there are a lot of other parameters also plays a major role. So what are those parameters one is the conductivity, that is a well-known factor. So the other important thing is the distribution of your mesoporous and microporosity. So if you have a mesopores, the rate will be very high. If you have micropores, the energy will be very high. So the combination of mesopores and micropores with the optimum conductivity is very essential for a supercapacitor application. And more important important thing is we wanted we approached some company. They were questioning us whether you can able to make it kilogram scale synthesis. We also proved it in kilogram scale, but the performance, large scale production, all these things we have proved. But the last one, as I told you, we got failure over there. Economically we are not compatible with the commercial carbon. So now we have changed the strategy to make it this, and then recently we made a carbon which is almost half of the commercial grade carbon price, with a large scale production possibilities as well as the performance. And then we have fabricated the cells. I will just show you some of the results. Again I am repeating some of the slides. Also there is another concept called redox additive. Maybe this time for which I will come back this little later. So there is another concept called asymmetric supercapacitors. In the very beginning I was talking about this. So here the conventional capacitors, we use the same electrode as your positive and negative. Okay. Here instead of that, what we are doing is one side is a different material, the other side is another material. So we call it as a asymmetric. So here there are a lot of opportunity. Both are EDLC kind of thing. That is simply called asymmetric capacitors. If one side I have a capacitor kind material, the other side I can have a battery grade material, then I can have a supercapacitor, supercap battery. Okay? So one side if I have a metal oxide decorated carbon material, so other side I have only a carbon material, so that is simply a hybrid device. So by changing this electrode configuration, I can also change the properties as well as the voltage window, all these things. So this is what we have done it in CSIR Sikri very long time before we just started with 1 centimeter squared small supercapacitor to prove it the supercapacitors are working. Okay. Then later we have increased the size into 5 centimeter squared. Into 5 centimeter squared. So there are several cells have been put it in parallel as well as series, and then we could able to make, for example, this is a lead acid battery. We just remove the containers. We remove the lead acid battery pack and then we open up. There will be 6 cells. So the 6 cells is filled with this kind of carbon based materials, and then we could able to have a 9.6 volt. So each cell is 1.6 volt. So if you connect 9 cells, we will come very close to 9.6 volt. The idea is to replace the 9 volt battery with this kind of supercapacitors. Here the energy stored in the systems are 30 milliwatt only. That is a very minimum. Similarly, we are also trying to use this flexible and bendable device. As I told you here, you could see this is a one single supercapacitors. You can bend it like this. Okay, you can, again it can come back. So even when you bend it at different angle, how the performance are changing. So that's what we have monitored here. You could see there is not much deviation, right? So this is clearly shows that these devices are highly flexible and bendable. But the flexibility or bendability mainly comes, what is your current collector? Okay. So if your current collector is a mesh or it's a foil, definitely this cannot be a flexible one. And then later we also made a commercial like supercapacitor like this. We just removed one of the spray can, okay, body spray, right? We just cut in, open it, and then we put it this kind of supercapacitor with the confident. Here we made a 4 meter tape, carbon coated tape, like this 2 electrodes, and then we rolled it. It is simply a tissue paper. We have it in for our day-to-day use, no? So that tissue paper we put it and then just rolled up. With this confident, we went to supercapacitor fabrication. That's outsourced by other country. Then we could able to see a small supercapacitor that's only a 2.3 centimeter height. Okay. So you could see these capacitors are, I don't know whether this video works. Just by charging 30 seconds, it can glow this light for more than 3 hours. Also we have compared one of the major player, so he is the person who is supplying all over the world, but of course now scenario has changed. So they have different kind of capacitor, 25, 50 farad and 100 farad, 150 farad. So we also have not exactly the same value but the close by values. But if you see they have used 7.5 grams for 25 farad. In our case for 18 farad we have used only 1.3 grams. Even our 45 farad supercapacitor we use only 5.6 grams. So then what we did is we have also used these capacitors to start up a bike. So your two-wheeler is generally started using your lead acid batteries, right? So here what we did is we just removed the lead acid batteries and we used the supercapacitor pack and then we try to start this bike. And then similarly when we make our own supercapacitor, that's a 100% indigenously made supercapacitor in our lab. So we could able to make 2.7 volt 100 farad supercapacitors. So we put several capacitors in series as well as parallel, and then we also demonstrated that the bike can be used to do for starting using this kind of supercapacitor pack. So this is what our summary. For example, in 2012 we started with some graphene based materials, then later we understand that graphene based materials scaling up is very difficult. For example, particularly when you want to make a large scale production, definitely it is not possible as of today, but of course the scenario will change with the time. If some of you comes with a large quantity graphene synthesis without compromising the properties. Of course later we put some bio-derived carbon and then we come to this stage, and very recently we made our own supercapacitor device. It's completely made up of indigenous carbon that is developed in India. So this particular technology has been, we have made a technology and then we recently transferred to one of the company. So hopefully they are going to make their supercapacitor in the future. Probably maybe a year or so they may make supercapacitors. I think I am done. Maybe this is the conclusion. So forget about this. So bio-derived materials are till today is a promising one, but of course not for just for academic interest. We have to find out the biosource which is available throughout the year with a lot of carbon content with less impurities. Then definitely it is possible to have a bio-derived carbon as a electrode grade carbon. The last one, but so not very least, so I want to thank our director and our Director General Dr. N. Kalachandi. Of course all my students and postdocs and BTech students. Of course the last one is that funding agencies, without them it's very difficult to run a lab. So they have supported for last 10 years to reach this stage. So I thank all of them. Of course, for you all for patiently listening this talk, though it is not very highly relevant to you. Yeah, thank you.
That is positive, negative. Some doesn't have polarity. What is the difference between these two?
No, it's not like doesn't have, both have polarity, but sometimes if it's a low power supercapacitor, then they will equate both the terminals in the same side, right? That's what you mentioned, right?
Yeah. Around 1.5 farad capacitor has the same same. For 10 farad, something like they have polarities like positive.
But the 10 farad and all not an issue. Even 360 farad capacitors, they have a terminals on only one side. The leakage or the exchange of current will be very less. Okay, so up to 360 is not an issue, but if you talk about 1000 farad or 3000 farad capacitors, then the terminals are completely separated. There are two reasons. One is for manufacturing purpose, that is easy. Okay, so instead of having it on both sides. So the other one is that to avoid any so it's a really high power. By mistake somebody cuts these two terminals, then it's very difficult to know. the sharp will be very high. The current pass size will be very huge.
Again one doubt, if electrolyte capacitor, does it self-charge for a particular farad, sir? Something like that.
Self-charging is...
Because while I short the capacitor, then it came to zero. After sometimes leaving it for one or 2 days, I check the capacitance. It's somewhat built up some potential it has.
there will be a little, but not much. For example, there is a... For example, if you put a same material in the both sides, that's completely symmetric with equivalent mass, definitely there should not be any charge built. Otherwise, what would happen is you might be running it very quick, so that though your multimeter source, if you have made it 0 volt, that may not be really 0 volt.
There may be some open circuit potential also.
But
That would be there only for battery or supercapacitor.
no, for supercapacitor, open circuit potential should be 0 or close to 0. Okay, since both are same material. If you are using asymmetric supercapacitor.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If you use batteries, there is open circuit potential. Yes, madam. The material is also very important. Some of the materials, for example, is not stable at a high voltage. Some of, particularly when you do it in the aqueous system, some metal oxides will go only 0.5 or 0.6 volts, not beyond that. Okay. So, but generally if you use carbon-based material, even 1.1 or 1.2 is, you can use. So, it's also not only electrolyte, it also depends upon the stability of the material. We have to check whether your material is, first one is the material stability. The second one is the electrolyte stability. I told you sometimes that the cyclic photometry I have shown you, right? So if at all any decomposition takes place, some gas molecule comes, the current will increase abnormally. So you have to start your potential well below the potential. For example, if it takes place at 0.6 volt, you should stop at stop with 0.5 volt. No, most of the issues here will come from only electrolyte. For example, if you use aqueous-based electrolyte, 0 degree electrolyte will get freeze. Even if you use non-aqueous electrolyte, below -5 or -10, it will get frozen, right? So if there is an electrolyte get frozen, there is no movement of ions. Of course, there is a movement of ions that may not be equivalent to the complete liquid state. So here, material generally when you reduce the temperature, most of the time nothing will happen. Most of the time. Of course, there may be some kind of material, it may not be stable at low voltage, low temperature. But minus temperature, generally most of the materials are stable. Only the voltage, the electrolyte may not be stable. So you have to find out some electric solvent or kind of thing so that freezing point will be minus. For example, the army people who are working in the Jammu Kashmir and all. So they need some batteries or kind of energy storage device that should go really -10 or 20 degrees Celsius. For us it's not needed. We are always in very hot temperature, right? Yes, both things has to be used. In the two electrode, we have the same material as positive and negative, and then in between you have the electrode. When I am measuring in the three electrode system, only I use only one electrode as working electrode. The other two will be one is a platinum, the other one is a reference electrode, but the electrode should be the same. Whatever I am planning to use in my two electrode system, the same electrode I have to use. Otherwise, there is no meaning in studying in three electrodes. Anything, liquid or semi-solid is also. These days, for example, gel electrode, if you want to work on flexible and bendable devices, you can also go for semi-solid gel kind of electrodes. $2,000.
So it's for carbon
It's a carbon powder.
Carbon meaning a coated with, for example, stainless steel, bigger flow means it's will change.
No, no, that is only a powder, 1 gram of powder carbon,
Yes.
which has this surface area.
What happens means, bigger flow is a once. So it's will be coated means it's a less area. But the stainless steel means it will be taken up more area. So it's change the surface.
It's not like that. Even for example, I make a pellet of this carbon. The surface is still available. The electrode can penetrate. Okay, the electrode can penetrate through the solid. Unless otherwise you completely fuse it, it may be difficult. Or simply I press into a pellet or I paste it on some of this electrode surface. Obviously there is a force. You cannot make it, you cannot arrest the electrode to go in. That much is not possible. Even if you coat it some micron, 200 micron thick, also is sufficient. Electrode can penetrate and access all the surface.
That's the last one. So we are now discussing capacitance using CV one farmers.
Is equal to 1 by 2 CV square.
So two farmer generally used to the calculator associations. Which one is the
No, if you use cyclic voltammetry, that's whatever it may be there, if you calculate the C, the energy density is calculated by 1 by 2 CV square. The C you can calculate in two routes. One is by cyclic voltammetry, the other one is the galvanostatic charge rate. Always galvanostatic charge discharge will be close to the real value. Cyclic voltammetry will be always it will give you the higher values. I did not use cyclic voltammetry, just for understanding. For preliminary understanding, I use cyclic voltammetry, but not for using or calculating the specific capacitance. Of course, I can calculate, but that will give you some values, but that is not the original value. 3 electrode values always will be high, and when I make a 2 electrode, it will be less. When I make a real capacitor, that will be far less, 5 times lower than the 2 electrode values. Since when I make a cell, I show you some cylindrical cell. I have to add the entire weight of the device, not just only the active material. Whereas in the 3 electrode cell, I use only active electrode weight. So that will be always in high value.
So I am talking at the same time. So CV and GCD means can I put with GCD value?
GCD values are more acceptable. Now these days lot of literature with wrong,
Yes.
okay, with different calculations. Most of them are very wrong. Okay, always if you want to calculate the specific capacity or energy density, you should use only a 2 electrode system. Okay, 2 electrode system, your galvanostatic charge recharge will be the ideal one to calculate the energy density. So some people they will calculate the specific capacitance using the 3 electrode system. That specific capacitance should not be used to calculate the energy density. 1 by 2 CV square, that value if you put, the energy density will be more than 100 watt per kg. So that is far beyond that original value. Original value will be hardly 4 or 5 watt hour per kg.